And we are live with another edition of the Lakers Snack Pack. And I am with the incomparable.
Can't hear you, Sean.
Oh. How about now, Jamie? We good? You unmute?
I can't hear you at all.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
That's weird. Let's see what's up.
So while Jamie Sweet is working out some of the technical snafus, I just wanted to welcome everybody into another edition of the Lakers Snack Break and a Snack Pack. I'm here with Jamie Sweet, and hopefully when we get the technical issues worked out, we'll be able to get his take on the Lakers series against the Warriors. And I believe we have Jamie Sweet back. And Jamie, are we loud and clear?
Loud and clear, baby.
All right. So, love to get your thoughts. Let's just dig right in here. Before we get to the Lakers and Warriors, just your ruminations on the playoffs so far, and what do you now think of the landscape of the NBA?
I mean, parity has never been greater. This is the most even. I feel like evenly balanced the two conferences have been since I can't remember, maybe the 90s. Even then, like, you kind of felt like things were tilted towards the East. Like it's the playing field is level, whether it's the changes they've made to the CBA, the changes they've made to how the lottery works and how you accumulate young talent, or the play-in, or all of these mechanisms they've added over the last 5 or 6 years. I really feel like this is the most balanced I've seen the two conferences in a really long time. Injuries have played a small part of that. But in general, I just feel like the talent pool between the two conferences is really even. The coaching has improved in both conferences. Even like young coaches who are kind of up and coming have a little bit more of a. They're not just like somebody you put, like there's not somebody like, hey, college coach, you're gonna do great in the NBA. Come on over to this league, and then they're like, well, I don't know, I'm not in charge. It's the locker room is in charge more than me. That's a little weird. So this has been a really enjoyable playoffs for me so far. It's the revenge of the play-in teams so far. Like, play-in teams are showing that like the play-in tournament isn't just like gimmicky thing. Like, you know, Jimmy Butler and LeBron are busting buns and putting the league on notice that if you might not start great. You might not have the best, health across the regular season, but if you can get your team together and all get on the same page and just get into that play-in, you have a chance to make some noise. Whether those two teams will meet in the NBA Finals is, to be determined. There's obviously a lot of games to go before we get to that point.
100%. I will say this though. Last night we were having a discussion about the Celtics and the Sixers game. And while Joe wasn't too concerned or tipping about the Celtics' lack of effort on the defensive end, Jamie, I thought that's what cost them the game. It's just they came out with the attitude that we're just going to pay attention to the scoreboard. As long as we have more points than they do at the end, that's all that matters. And they actually let Philly hang around without Embiid. I'm not sure. Nobody had that on their scorecard. I don't care who you are. You're not going to wake up this morning and say you predicted that. And obviously no one predicted that Houston Harden would rise from the grave and come back to zombify the Celtics, because they looked a little run down, Jamie. And for some reason, Malcolm Brogdon, a really smart basketball player, just threw the ball inexplicably to Tyrese Maxey, and he was just standing right there.
Like, there you go. You go, girl.
You know what? Yeah. For a team that's talked about, owning the Sixers, Jamie, I think, you just planted a seed of doubt in your own mind, because now, do you really need Embiid in the second game? You already got a split. You can rest him for game 3. I'm thinking that's what they're going to do. I'm not sure if they're going to do that, but I mean, you have the potential here to go back to the most hostile city we know in professional sports with a 2-0 lead.
Correct. I mean, one, it's weird to talk about load management in the playoffs. But there was talk about load managing AD and LeBron in that games 5 in Memphis, right? Like some guy DJ on the blog, your buddy DJ on the blog, he floated the idea of game 5 in Memphis, sit AD and Bron, rest him, have him
Oh,
have them ready to go. Have them ready to go for game 6. We lost game 5, and people are like, it might not have been the worst thing, like because neither one of them really showed up in that game 5, right? You could make an argument that like we've entered, which is crazy. We won't, Joe. Don't worry. But if I'm Doc Rivers, if I'm the 76ers, if Embiid can go and he doesn't feel like he's going to put himself at further risk for injury, you got to go. You got to get in the playoffs. Greed works. You get what you can get when you can get it, and you look back and answer questions as to why you did it later. Ask for forgiveness. Don't ask for permission. So, the fact that I thought this season the Boston Celtics would come out like the 2010-2011 Lakers did when they lost to Boston in the NBA Finals after trading for Pau Gasol, and there was the mission was clear. Kobe let no one forget, this is what we are here to do now, and we are going to do it together. And I will drag your carcasses with me if I have to, but it would be better if you helped out. And he got enough help, and they mission accomplished. They didn't steamroll through the playoffs, but I don't think they lost until they got to Boston. I don't think they lost 2 games in the series that season. I would have to go back and double check that. But this Boston team lost that thread midway around the All-Star break, a little bit before the All-Star break. I thought they kind of were like, oh, we're the number 1 team. Maybe we'll be number 2. Doesn't really matter. We're the
we'll
Celtics.
Just put it on cruise.
We'll put it on cruise, and they haven't been able to switch back. And
no,
this is the one. The Warriors are the one team that I do believe has some kind of switch, but it doesn't exist. If you're not, and Brogdon, this is like his first real playoff series, right? Like he was great in the regular season. This is the point I was making on the blog the other day. I had 5 things where it was like, what's it going to take to beat Golden State? And it's not your talent, it's your mind. It's this is where the game gets a lot more than just how high you can jump, how fast you can run, how quick your hands are, your first step is, and those sort of things. Those still matter, but how you approach the game, how you adjust within the game, and how you take that in a loss or a win and make it better in the next game is what the playoffs are about. And Joe Mazzulla did a great job with the Boston Celtics in the regular season, and you should tip of the cap, gold star for him, great job. But this is a different beast, and Doc Rivers, I think, is going to end up out coaching Joe Mazzulla. And if James Harden can play even a little bit not as good as this, and Maxey has the same impact he's having, and like some other, Tobias Harris isn't always going to be terrible. He's going to hit shots in Philly. He's going to be a better play. He's a better player in Philly. I'm with you. I could see them saying maybe if Embiid is like, I don't know, it's a little sore, and they're like, take a couple more days. Take a couple more days. Like you don't want him to get hurt, obviously. And like you said, they got the split. The job has been done. All the pressure is now on the Boston Celtics to win at least a game in Philly. And if they lay another egg at home, what is it? Wednesday they play again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then I would say that then there's a potential for Philly to pull off an unprecedented and a nobody called it sweep, like 0. I don't believe any. Maybe some guy in Philly who's like sweep Celtics and then gets the Jack Daniels on the street, but like other than that guy, nobody called sweep except for maybe the Philly fanatic. But yeah, that was a big egg for Boston to lay, and I feel like the Lakers have to take take the Philly approach. You have to win game one. You have to put the pressure on Golden State to perform on the road, where they've been bad all season. They'll be better in the playoffs because it's the playoffs. They're built for the playoffs. They're a team that's engineered for the playoffs, the slower game and the half court game. But I didn't see the joke. I'm sorry.
I'll repost it because it is very funny.
Or I'll just okay, yeah. Tell me what the joke is. Let's see. Yeah. That's a good one. Thing like that.
Yeah, PFC is one of our resident fire chat room. I call him an artist. He's an artist with that keyboard.
How Gerald is a pod father. He's the chat master.
Yes, he is. So as we roll into the other series for a quick recap, Jamie.
Is it a series?
Is it? So Denver just came out and rolled a bullet train, basically, on Phoenix in game one. So, Jamie, Monty Williams thought, you know what? I don't really have a bench. I don't have a guy who can score 20 points anymore off that pine. So we're just going to slow the whole thing down to a crawl. Yeah, really bad choice, because in the fourth quarter, Michael Malone thought, okay, well, I've got Jamal Murray, I've got Nikola Jokic, I've got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Right.
They can all hit mid-range shots. So you guys just want to trade mid-range shots and threes? Let's go.
Right.
And it was a bad strategy. And now it's bitten them in the ass. Now they're down 0-2.
Yep.
Jamie, going back to Phoenix, do you think the Suns can win both those games, or do you think that the Suns are just in a position where they had to gut their team to get where they are? And I think they would have been in the exact same position if they had kept the same team.
Yeah.
So what's your feelings on this series? You think it's pretty much, it's almost there? It's like you're seeing that 100-foot wave coming at the boat.
I mean, I have a couple of thoughts. One is, I thought that, a lot of that hinges on how, if Chris Paul's out, that's a big problem. That's putting a lot on Cameron Payne and a lot on Devin Booker. And frankly, a lot on Durant. And Durant is just so enigmatic. He's not there for the city or the team of Phoenix. He's there because he made a calculation, and Joe Tsai honored his calculation, and he thought, that's the team that's going to give me the best chance to win a ring this season. They play my style of basketball. I can take that guy's starting spot and fit right in next to Booker and CP3 and Ayton, and all will be wonderful. He tried to replicate his move to the Warriors, in my opinion, a few years back. Having said that, coming home, Phoenix is a much better team at home than on the road. They won't be playing in the Mile High City. They won't have that first quarter adjustment, although by game two, you really should not have to deal with that anymore. You've been in the city of Denver now for a few days. So game two was I thought that they would lose game one, and game two was they had to come out and just like ram it down their throats. And then they came out trotting, and it was like, oh, well, you don't understand. This is Monty Williams. And it's at this point, this is just bad coaching by Monty Williams. It's not like he's a rookie coach. This is just bad coaching. That was a bad strategy. You can't. The Warriors and the Nuggets are two teams that will welcome the half court game. They will not be afraid of the half court game in any way, shape, or form. They do not need transition buckets. They do not need to get out on the break. It helps. If they do get out on the break, it's easy baskets for them. But you give Steph the ball, or Draymond Green the ball at the top of the key and run screens. You give Jokic the ball inside, just above the free throw line, and let him stand there for 12 seconds and watch people run around off the screens. And then he just goes bloop and hits the open man, and it's an easy bucket because they've been doing it all season. Everybody knows where they're supposed to get their shots. KCP, for all of his faults, he's good for one bad pass a game, one turnover a game. KCP for that You live with that, right? Because of the defense and because of the bucket making. And because he does it, he'll
Yes.
take the shot. He'll take the open shot. He will not turn the open shot down. I think,
KCP to me is the modern day Mario Ellie. He's like a
yes, that's a good one.
a very understated, very underrated player. You're right, Jamie. Got some flaws there, but there's still a diamond there. It's just a little rougher around the edges, and you can live with that.
You
You
can live
can
with the
live with
rough.
that. Yeah.
You can live with the rough. And Mario is a good comparison. Or like Marcus Smart on Boston,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
Marcus Smart might be a little bit better of a game manager, but you're gonna Marcus Smart's gonna get like an aggressive foul on defense per half, like where he's like all over some guy that is mystified that he finally got called for a foul after he's been holding and grabbing for the last 12 minutes. Like, what? But I do think if Phoenix can come out and win game 3, just win game 3. It doesn't even have to be decisively. They come out and win game 3, get a little home cooking going, win game 2 or game 4. I mean, game 2 in their home arena. That at least neutralizes the pressure still on Phoenix. You got to win. You're the road team. You got to win on the road. You got to win one. Game 1 or 2 is usually, in my opinion, the easiest of those two to win, but it's by no means the only game you have. You got 2 more chances in 5 and 7. You just have to hold the fort at home. If they lose this first game, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver sweeps them, which would be astounding.
It would be.
It would be astounding, and then I would be curious to see what kind of moves Phoenix makes, because you could say that DeAndre Ayton was not thrilled to be a Sun this season.
No.
And you can get a lot back for that chunk of change. You could look to trade for just a professional like center like JaVale McGee and some useful players in Dallas. You could look to maybe do something with Chicago and get Vucevic, maybe Vucevic and Caruso. There's a lot you can do with DeAndre Ayton's contract in the summer. And if they get swept out of the second round, I would not be surprised if DeAndre Ayton is moved. I mean, because they're not going to trade Durant. They just gave up the farm for Durant. They're not going to trade Book. He's the face of the franchise. Face of the franchise. Franchise, not French fries.
That's good.
It's almost my lunch break, so I'm starting to think about food.
All right.
But
no, Jamie, that you brought up a terrific point, man. And this is like the 4th or 5th variation of a team trying to get that third superstar slotted in there to fit with the other two, and it just don't work. It don't work. It reminds me a lot of
Bridges didn't
yeah,
work.
Yeah. It reminds me of that a metal documentary I was watching. And Rob Zombie was talking about how, Black Sabbath pretty much has written every chord progression known to man in heavy metal. Forwards, backwards, upside down, inside out. He said, so you have to learn to try and evolve the instrument. And that happens with the mind first. But nobody's been able, as an organization, as a front office, to put together 3 guys and win. The only version of that was the Heat and the Warriors. But the Warriors got lucky.
I would say Boston in 2008 was Garnett,
Garnett,
Pearson, Allen.
But it's very sparse. It's like a man on an island alone. There's not a consistent blueprint for doing this, and teams are just kind of just throwing the dice and hoping it doesn't roll snake eyes when they do this. But Phoenix just gutted their whole team. Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. Campaign isn't the same player. His
picks
gone.
Fewer. Not right. I mean, they have some, but way fewer. The Ayton contract is it, because CP3 is up. He's an unrestricted free agent, I believe, this summer.
Yes.
So, which I believe he'll walk. I think he'll walk after this season. I think I don't know where he'll go. Maybe Lakers on a vet minimum.
Oh, Boston. That's a great segue. So now we get to
Boston on a vet minimum.
No.
I've never been. I know. Some people believe that when David Stern torpedoed the CP3 trade, that he cursed the Lakers for a generation, and I could not disagree more. I never ever think you should trade quality size for a smaller player. No matter how good that smaller player is, when you're 6', 6'1", defensively, you just don't have the same. And I understand Chris Paul is great at stealing the ball, and that's not what I'm talking about. I just mean like in terms of being able to stop plays from unfolding the way they're designed to. Real defense, not stat defense, real defense. There's a vast difference between the two. I don't care if you're the all-time leader in blocks. If your team is still giving up 120 points a game, that means you've blocked five. That's 5 attempts out of 100, 90,
Yes. Yeah,
80.
exactly, right?
That's nothing. I would rather say, oh, this guy altered 20 shots at the rim, but got one block or maybe even zero. But like people don't want to people can't score in the paint around him because he's affecting the shot. That to me is far more effective. So when I understand that Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom were on the tail end of their careers at the CP3 trade or whatever, but like I always, as soon as I saw that trade, I thought it was a bad trade. And then when they took it back, I was like, thank you, but it's too late. Like the damage was done to the Lakers. Lamar was like, I'm out. Pau Gasol was like, oh, really? Like the owl. Oh, really?
Yeah, and there were so many permutations and other shrapnel that went along with that trade that wow, it just didn't affect the Lakers. I know we're a Lakers community and it's very Lakers centric,
no,
but
that thing was like
that changed about 10 other franchises in one small but significant move that Stern made. So as we segue into that, we're here to hear what Jamie Sweet's thoughts are on the Lakers and Warriors series. Now, Gerald has just emailed me and told me he's going to grab the Game 1 preview. But, Jamie, you are here. We got to give the people what they want. How do you see this series unfolding? What are Jamie Sweet's keys to the series? What do you think what are the three things the Lakers can not avoid in order to worry about this Warriors team? Because a lot of people aren't sweating on our side, Jamie. A lot of people are just kind of like, just kicking their feet up, having a mint julep. I think that's a mistake.
I agree. I'm with you, Sean. I think that's a terrible mistake. One, the Lakers can't let Kevon Looney do to the Kings. They have to keep Kevon Looney off the glass. He has to average he has to have like tops out at 10 rebounds per game. Like if he averages 10 rebounds or fewer per game, we have a great shot because the Warriors aren't as efficient at scoring the ball as past teams this season, but his rebounding, especially on the offensive glass, makes up for that a lot. And his rebounding on the defensive glass, where you're keeping him to one and out, makes up for that. So I think the rebounding game is the biggest key in this entire series. And that means if AD can neutralize Kevon Looney, who's neutralizing Draymond Green and vice versa. And that was the problem the Kings had. Now, let's be honest. Sabonis, like Brogdon, first true taste of the playoffs, a little bit disappointing. I happened to be in Berkeley on Sunday at Ben and Nick's, a bar in Berkeley, where they were obviously all watching the Warriors game. And it was a wonderful experience, right? Like I'd never been around a lot of Warriors fans. They're all very passionate. It was fantastic. And then I'm not too afraid or too sad, or I'm actually quite happy to say that when there was a quiet moment, I started a quiet, well, maybe not so quiet in my outdoor voice. A nice little "Let's go Lakers." And then when they tried to shout me down, then I started shouting, because I can be quite loud when I want to be, Lakers #1. And so that was kind of how I ended my time in Berkeley this weekend. And it was wonderful for me personally because, I like to stir it up a little bit. But watching that Game 7, coming out of the half, it was close. I think the Kings were up 5, maybe. I can't remember. One team was up 5, and then the Warriors started just rebounding the ball. And that's where your center has to take control. And I feel like AD can neutralize one of Green and Sabonis, but he can't neutralize both. And that was the problem that the Warriors had, was that Green would box out somebody and let Looney out rebound Sabonis, who's not a rebounder. You know, I had a lot of issues with Sabonis's game 7. I thought that guy's got, if he does one thing this summer, it's add that 20-foot set shot. Go talk to Marc Gasol. Hang out with Marc Gasol all summer in Spain. Get that 20-foot. You don't got to jump. You don't need hops. Just set shot, shoot it, let it fly. That would have changed the entire dynamic of that series from game 1, and it wouldn't have mattered that Fox fractured his finger in game. He would have been. You could see that De'Aaron Fox lost effectiveness after that. The Lakers are similarly having. Everybody's trying to talk about how LeBron and AD are full strength. They are absolutely not at full strength. You can see it in their jump shots. AD's jumper is not where it needs to be. LeBron's jump shot is not where it needs to be. They both rely on paint points right now. They both rely on scoring off of rebounds. So LeBron has to neutralize Draymond Green. He has to box out Draymond Green, or he has to box out Kevon Looney. That's it. Those are the options. Wendy and Gabriel gonna get annihilated. Jared Vanderbilt, not enough in the back pocket. Like, he's gonna get moved out of the paint. Like, he's high energy, and I would put him on Klay Thompson, frankly, to try to take Klay out of the game or piss Klay off, because a pissed off Klay is generally good for the opposition. He's not a good mad player, and he's kind of like Devin Booker, except he's a little bit better at keeping it internal. You don't see it on his face so much every 2 minutes, but he's emotional. And if you can get his emotions going in the game, and I think Vanderbilt's great at that. I think he did that a little bit to Ja. And just deny him his looks.
Yes.
You have to, who are you going to let score? You can't just say like, oh, let Draymond Green have the ball, because if you give Draymond Green space to operate at the top of the paint, he will pick you apart. He will pick you apart, and he will get 15 assists per game, and he will either force the ball to the rim and try to score, because he's not, as we saw in that game 5, when he put up 21, he can do it. He just has to choose to do it. See, you're not going to stop Steph Curry. The entire Warriors offense is geared to get Steph Curry 1/2 second of time to shoot a shot. They will run him off of 18,000 screens per possession, back and forth around the horn until somebody hits Steph for an open shot. You can't stop Curry. You can try to slow down Thompson. I've been going back and forth on whether I would put Vanderbilt on Thompson or Wiggins, and I haven't landed on it yet. I can't make a choice, because Reeves on Thompson I don't like. I think Reeves is a little too slow. I think Reeves on Wiggins is a worse choice, and I kind of want Wiggins to beat us. If we're gonna lose, I want it to be because Wiggins has been going for 30 every. You know what I mean? Like, he's, yeah. I mean, Joe,
Well, I was telling Gerald yesterday, like, because
don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear there, Joe. Don't poke the bear.
Yeah,
Dylan Brooks is going to be playing in Indonesia next year because he.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be playing in Indonesia, or he's going to be playing in Turkey, or he's going to be playing in the.
He'll get to Boston. Then we can really hate him properly.
Anyway, I was telling Gerald, Jamie, although, people assume that because the Warriors turn the ball over a lot in a few of those Kings games, that somehow they don't play smart. They play very smart. They just have a turnover issue at times. So in game 1 and 2, they had 15, 20 turnovers, and in game 6, they had 18. So any more than 15 turnovers a game, the Warriors are 0-3 in the playoffs so far. So I think the Lakers have to again, what we saw in I think the first round was a similar recipe, Jamie. Even though we were playing the Grizzlies, it's take advantage of the turnovers and opportunities you have in transition against this
Yep.
team.
Yep.
And I don't think you can play the kind of defense we played against them that you play against Golden State because I was giving an example. Remember those BBC documentaries with David Attenborough?
It's
Yeah, and you would go and
life
he
on
would.
Earth is a spectacular thing.
Yes, it's amazing. And he talks about the angular fish at the bottom of the ocean, right?
Uh-huh.
It's got the fluorescent,
Little,
yes, yeah, but with the 60 serrated teeth. And it acts as prey to the prey, right? It's
right.
almost as if, yes, come, come. Similar to an alligator snapping turtle, too. Like their tongue looks like a worm
Right.
to to
Lure.
other, yes. So you can't do that with Draymond Green the same way you did with Dylan Brooks, right, Jamie? Because yeah, of course you can fool Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is cocky. He's full of pith and vinegar. He thinks he can hit 7 threes in a row. Draymond's a little bit smarter than that, a little more savvy.
He
If you
won't take
think you
seven
can
threes in a row.
bait him into bad shots, it's not going to happen.
I mean, maybe a couple, or even like bad defensive possessions, even a couple, or a flagrant here or there. It's going to happen. It's Draymond Green. Whether even whether he deserves it or not, he'll get. Somebody will hit the floor and they'll be like, "Hey, buddy, Draymond Green, you get a flagrant foul." And Steve Kerr off the word.
I would love to see pick and rolls where LeBron is either going at him with AD, Rui, or Austin Reeves. I would love to see
it's going to happen
with Reeves and Draymond Green because I think Reeves can really take him down to the hole.
I think the key. I think so. There's 3 keys: control the glass, keep turnovers down, and speed the Warriors up. The Warriors want to play in the half court. They want to slow the game down. They want to work for a shot for Steph or Clay. That's it. That's
their
right?
1-2 option.
That's their 1-2 option, and after that, the efficiency drops off significantly. So I think that if you can, and this is where I thought the Kings in that Game 7, maybe they ran out of steam, maybe they just didn't believe, but they stopped running. They would get the ball and walk it up court. You have got to run. Schroeder might be the most important player in this series because he will play at the pace. And honestly, Russ fans here might like this, but all the people who don't like Russ would have been a perfect player in this series because Russ is gonna run it at the defense, whether it's a good choice or not. Okay, but that's the mentality we need to have. We need to adopt that Westbrookian mentality of I am going to beat the team down the floor and see what their broken defense can do. You cannot play against a set Golden State Warriors defense. You cannot let them dictate the pace of the game because they will pick you apart with screens and passes. They have a chemistry that we cannot even begin to approach. They know where they're going to be. They know they know how they're going to get their shots, and they know who's going to take the shot. And the Lakers can't afford too many LeBron James. I'm a little tired. I'm just going to dribble up for 6 seconds, 12 seconds. I'm going to shoot a 3. That's got to start to go away fast. It's got to start to go away fast. Those kind of shots, unless they're going in, can't be taken. They're just bad shots for this offense. You have to punish them inside, and you have to play with pace. You have to control the pace. And if you can't control the pace, I think Golden State wins this in 5 or 6. I think our best shot to win is tonight on the road. They're coming off 7-game series, huge game. Steph's historic night, yada yada yada. Punch him in the face.
Letdown sandwich. It's a letdown. It's a letdown. Energy dipped sandwich. Yeah,
punch him right in the face.
That's what it feels like.
Then punch him again. Don't let up. Run it at them. Make them keep up with you. If you can do that, you can score in transition. If you can win the points in the paint, which means you're likely winning the rebound battle, I think we got a great shot in any arena, home or at Chase Center. So, but I feel like every game we lose at the beginning puts a lot of pressure on guys like Hachimura, Reeves, Vanderbilt, even D'Lo, who's not a historically good playoff performer. Literally anybody not named Anthony Davis or LeBron James. The rest of the team is going to feel pressure they've never even imagined. Where everything they do wrong, every shot they miss, every free throw that clanks, every pass that gets even just knocked out of bounds starts to add to this doubt, this creeping doubt, and that is what they have to avoid. And they can avoid that best if they win game one tonight. They can put it in their minds right away. We can beat this team. Game one, beat the team. Prove to yourself, prove to the world, prove to the Warriors, we can do it. They don't do that. It could make for a very difficult series. And every game the Warriors win is just going to be them feeling like they've hit that switch. We're back. This is what we've been building for all season. Do we wish it had happened and come together a little sooner? Of course. Wiggins was out for 18 years with a family issue. They've had injuries of their own. Clay's, looked more and more like Klay Thompson with every month this whole regular season. So, the only X factor that could sink them is if, Draymond Green loses his mind. And I think that he's, I think he's starting to think about a payday. And for every flagrant point he accrues, it's a little bit less of a payday. Ask Dylan Brooks. But that's the key. You have to outplay, you have to outpace them, and you have to get into Green and Clay's head. Maybe force them to get a little over emotional and do silly, stupid things. You do that, and you got a good chance. You got a really good chance.
So it sounds from the incomparable Jamie Sweet's analysis that he favors the Lakers just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, Jamie, the time has come. Your prediction.
Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7. All right. Lakers in 7. That's a really close series. I don't Search asked a great question. Jamie, he said, Golden State hasn't been that great this year. Are we overhyping them?
Yep.
I don't think we're overhyping this roster that they have, because it's as far as the roster goes, it's the weakest of the Warriors championship medal. Now, in saying that, you can't ignore the past with this team. They've just got too many scars, and they've got the hardware to show it.
Right. It's like an elite battalion in World War II. Like, they've taken some hits and some guys have gone down, but the heart beateth strongly.
Yeah, it's like
the heart beateth.
Just because we have bigger tanks doesn't mean we're going to roll over them.
Right, exactly. Like it again. And this is another thing. I had 5 things, like 5 things about this series that I put on the blog was don't be overly concerned with corral. Like, you can make Steph work, but you can't get it if he's gonna score points. He's Steph Curry. Like, that's what he does. It'll be from 3, it'll be in the paint, it'll be from mid range, it'll be scoop shots, it'll be floaters, it'll be from the free throw line. He'll score points. You have to slow down everybody else. You have to make everybody else work twice as hard. And I think, I'm not saying you let Steph go for 50 every night, but don't be concerned if Steph's averaging an efficient 25, 30 points a game. As long as you're making guys like Thompson, Wiggins, Green, Poole, if those guys are all having a hard time, and if you keep Looney off the glass, you got to keep. It's like Dark Side of the Moon, brain damage. Got to keep the Loonies off the grass, off the glass.
You know what, Jamie? I'm not sure if they're going to employ this or not, because I've been kind of thinking about this. I would give Rui permission to bolt from his man when a shot goes up, to make sure
you have to game rebound.
To make sure that there's cover for AD with Looney, because I think even though Rui might be a little bit smaller than Looney, I think he could stand up to him physically.
He's got a good base. He's got more in the back pocket than Vanderbilt does. I would
absolutely give Rui permission to bail on his man when a shot goes up, because we need to control the boards.
Everybody's got to put it. I mean, that's what. So let Steph go off, not go off, but like don't worry so much about Steph. Control the glass, and that's not just AD, and that's not just LeBron, and that's not just whoever else plays the center position. Put a body on. I don't care if you're at the 3-point line. Put a body on somebody. Make them go around you. Make them go around you. Make them go through you. The other was play at pace, and the thing that I'm a little bit worried about, but this is true for both teams. I thought that the Warriors had kind of a bad test in Sacramento for like where they're at in the playoffs. I also think the Lakers kind of had a bad test with Memphis about where we're at in the playoffs. And the reason I say that is because there was no Steven Adams. Brandon Clark, yeah, sure. Forget the other guy who was out that was kind of a key guy for them, another defensive guy. But Steven Adams is their Kevon Looney, right? Like he sets those hard elbow screens that takes a dude out. He rebounds the ball. He alters shots at the rim. He does all the little things that Jay to the third power doesn't really want to do. He can do them, but he doesn't really want to do them. Jared Jeffries Jr. wants to play the AD role. Want to come from the weak side and block the shot. I want to you box out and I'll jump over you and your guy and grab the rebound. And things like that, the way AD played in the bubble and the way AD played year one as a Laker, where like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee did all the dirty work, and AD was able to like save a lot of his energy for the offensive end and for making highlight plays. AD's Kevon Looney now, whether he wants to be or not, right? I mean, he's a much better version, but like that's where he's at, and so not having that test in Memphis is why I say it wasn't a good test. I'm not trying to take anything away from moving on through that series in 6 games. It's a great series. The Lakers are doing a great job playing to their strengths, and we need the guys who stepped up in that series step up again. But I would have felt a little bit better if we had beaten that team with a healthy Steven Adams, with AD, however his foot is doing, however that bone in his that thing is doing his foot, and LeBron. I'm a little worried about the feet of the Lakers. I'm not lying, but and I'm hopeful that LeBron went into his carbonite frozen chamber and put himself on ice for a few days. But that's right, Search and Destroy. Please like and subscribe. Good call. Good call. Like and subscribe. Right down all those places. But this is a better test, and as it should be in the next round. Next round, you should level up your opponent. We're leveling up. We're playing the defending NBA champs, the team that's had a dynasty for this decade, and they're calling it their last dance. That remains to be seen. But
I'll always remember that one huddle, Jamie, where Manu's hand was kind of shaking in the huddle because he's so like amped up. Like it's like this, and Greg Popovich is like, settle down, all right. Like this is a second round. It only gets harder. Like you need to settle down.
And that's what I hope. Like one thing about Darvin Ham, I've not been a big fan of his in-game adjustments or even really his game-to-game adjustments. His adjustments seem to come a little bit slow, and he's a rookie coach. But at least he's been through it, both as a player and as an assistant coach, and he understands. I think I want to believe he understands that you need to find the stillness, excel in the stillness, find the space. Be excellent in the space. And if you can do those things, you can beat the Warriors.
Oh man, that was awesome. That reminds me of something Bruce Lee said. Do you see water? You put water in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put water in a cup, it becomes the cup.
Yeah. Right.
Be
like water.
Jamie with the Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do wisdom to end this Lakers snack break is just fantastic. This was a great snack pack. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Nick on because I wanted to have the original Rat Pack on for this one for game one. So Nick, next round, it's going to be game one. It's going to be the original snack pack crew.
What time is the pre-game tonight?
Gerald said he's going on at 6 o'clock. Jamie, 6 o'clock.
All right, I might be a little late for that one, depending on when I get off work. But all right.
Yeah, you know what, Adam? I do too. I now a lot. I would need to clear something up with everybody. I don't doing it. I don't do it during the games or pregame because that's just not fair to Gerald and the audience and everybody else. I do it beforehand. I drink a couple beers. I sober up a little bit, and we're ready to go.
I mean, yeah, it's almost 5 o'clock where you are. You know, you're right there, baby.
Oh yeah, I am, and it's almost dinner time too. So
yeah, well, it's lunchtime for me. So
all right, what are you having for lunch?
I don't know. I might go get a burrito from somewhere.
All right, what do you like in your burrito before we head on out?
I'm a simple man. I like a bean and cheese burrito, depending on the salsas, depending on like what I'll do a little onion, cilantro, little lettuce, little Spanish rice, black beans if I can get them.
Now, I've asked Joe this question, but I've got to ask Jamie Sweet this question. Jamie, where are the best tacos in the Los Angeles area? I know I'm putting you on the spot. This is an on the spot.
I mean, so there's a couple of ways you could go about this. There's some excellent taco trucks that you will not be disappointed if you find the taco truck and grab a taco from there, because that's going to be like high quality street tacos, right? Where like hot griddle, throw the tortilla on, slap something in there, grub away. Now, I will say this: I'm a born and bred vegetarian, so I can't talk to the asada or the pollo or the any of that jazz. But having said that, I mean, man, that's a good one. If you want a restaurant experience, I would say maybe Blue Plate. If you're in the mood for a delicious breakfast taco, I would say I want to say it's called Home Country. They have great tacos. My favorite place for burritos, I'm more of a burrito man, is Taco Miendo. In LA, but in Long Beach, it's Baja Sonora. And then if I'm in Orange County, it's by far Los Primos. If you're in Orange County, go to Los Primos. Do yourself a favor. You will. Then go to Taco Mesa and compare and have a wonderful afternoon of eating delicious Mexican food. I mean, honestly, we could go. You're about to go down a rabbit hole here that you may never come back from, because you've really hit upon one of my top two. I consider the burrito to be the ultimate food delivery system. Whatever you want to put in that thing, it's going to come out delicious, right? Like, flaming hot Cheetos. Why not? Go live your best life if that's what it is.
People... And I'd just like to say this before we end this snack pack, because I'd like to be heard on this.
Sure.
For those people out there, those uptight who can't enjoy themselves, I don't need a drink after work, or I don't need to smoke up anything. When you people die and you go to heaven, you will not be regaled with great music. You will be talking to Pat Robertson. You will be listening to the musical stylings of Engelbert Humperdinck. And he won't be singing Lesbian Seagull, because that number isn't allowed in heaven. Meanwhile, the rest of us normal people will be in hell enjoying a whiskey sour with Ernest Hemingway, Kurt Cobain.
Can't wait.
Jimmy Page.
I mean, if I believed in such things,
enjoy ourselves.
If I believed in such things,
yes.
Unfortunately, I believe the electricity will dissipate from my body and all this fleshy mass.
This is the end was very funny, but the Backstreet Boys won't be in heaven.
There is no heaven. Come on.
So with that, this was a fantastic Lakers snack pack. I really enjoyed having my friend and a great colleague and a member of this community that we have. That's just Jamie. It's growing by the day, and I just want to thank you for being.
I just saw your comment. Brutal, man. Brutal. Yeah, the snack pack gets aggressive.
It does. It can.
Backpack is aggro, bro.
This
It's good
has
to be back. I was on fish tour. I got sick last week with
So
flu,
how? Tell us before we head out. How is
for
the
sure.
fish tour?
Oh, it was fantastic. I did 6 concerts in 7 nights, and then my body said, "Screw you, bro," and went down hard. And I got a little bit sick, missed some time at work, slept a lot, then got better basically in time to go to the bar mitzvah, where I even then was feeling pretty run down through the whole weekend, right up until about the point I started my "Let's Go Lakers" chant in Ben and Nick's in Berkeley. Then I really just felt exactly like myself, and I knew I was back. So, go Lakers! Win it tonight. Put the pressure on the Warriors.
The fact is, Joe, I don't really even care for Nirvana that much. So, but
What?
I
Yeah,
I did enjoy the music. Charles, I recommend Charles Cross's "Heavier Than Heaven." That's probably the best autobiography of a musician out there. And with that, Jamie Sweet predicts the Lakers will win in 7. He thinks the Phoenix Suns don't have a snowball's chance, and you know what? We're all awaiting the demise of the Boston Celtics. Fingers crossed.
I could go 7-2 though.
And no one's going to bet against Jimmy B for the rest of his life, as long as he's in the playoffs.
If he can't go though, that's a problem for Miami.
That's a problem for them.
He can't. If he's out for a game, they're losing that game. And I think Randall's coming back.
Jamie, the irony here, and I just want to put the image out there for all the hoop heads out, and the image of Jeff Van Gundy clutching Alonzo Mourning's ankles to 26 years later, if Jimmy Butler on one leg just drags the Heat, I mean, you want to talk about snake bitten. I still think this goes the distance. It's just these two franchises really hate one another. It's one of the best rivalries going in the playoffs in all 4 major sports. So I'm just hoping for a really good series.
Oh, me too. And I one last thing. Shout out to Randall and Josh Hart. I'm glad you guys landed in a place that accepts and embraces your games, because I think they're perfect Knicks. They're perfect Knicks with Tom Thibodeau as the coach. Different coach. But
and we've got comments coming in. Jamie, one of our great chat artists, Adam Hurley, he picks the Lakers at 6.
I hope you're right, Adam. I hope you're right.
Search is going with the Lakers at 4.
Come on.
All right. So
that's
Jamie,
a Laker Tom level prediction.
You go get some much needed ATP, because it sounds like you need it.
Yeah, I'm getting a little peckish here.
A little famished. All right. So with that, another great Lakers snack pack in the vault. I want to thank my guest Jamie Sweet, our incomparable panel of chat artists. Can't say enough. Adam, Search, Joe, yes, even Joe.
Joseph Sorrell. You've done your job.
Yeah. He's a mensch. What can you say about Joe?
Keep installing those lawns, or
right.
overseeing the installation of the lawns.
I tell Gerald I'm looking for him.
Yeah, everybody is. Everybody wants Joe.
All right. So with that, guys, tune in for the Game 1 preview just before tip. And we'll leave it at that. Go Lakers, go tonight. Let's do what Jamie said and just punch them in the face into submission. And let's go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned for the preview, and we'll see you on the post game. Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.